Hey, everybody. So I wanted to jump on because I've been having some thoughts and some hits on Chris Watts again. And, I don't know what it is, but I kept getting drawn back to it. And not all the time. I don't want to make you think I'm sitting here about thinking about it. But I listened to a playback of the interview when the CBI went up to visit Chris in Wisconsin. And they're talking to him about what did we do that tripped you up? And there's these moments when he was like going, oh yeah, that was really good when you did that. That was the thing. Because they were asking him, so what did we do right? What did we do wrong? And he was like, oh, you did this part really good. Because when you put the picture in front of me of my daughter, and I was thinking the way he was talking about it, and I think this is the thing that has haunted me about Chris Watts, is that energetically, he is what I consider crazy but normal. And what's so bizarre, and as I process this in my head, and I also want to check in and see how you're looking at this too, as I process this, now obviously this is months later after, the big bombshells earlier in the year, but something that's hitting me now, and especially right after D-Day and the time I'm shooting this, one of the things that's really coming forward to me and is scaring me is how normal he is having this conversation and laughing with these people about, yeah, you did that good. And I'm thinking, and they asked him about, his crying, he didn't show any emotions. And he said, well, it hit me in my cell and I was crying. And I thought, he said, I'm just not the kind of person that shows emotions. And I thought, this is not someone who snapped. It suddenly hit me because I've been saying that, oh, he snapped, or, I've heard other people say that, and other people were saying he's a psychopath. And this is part of why I don't put labels on things, okay? Part of the reason I don't say, oh, he's a narcissistic psychopath, with all these terms, is I believe that if we just do that as laymen, right? If we just do that, one of the things that happens is we may miss the nuances here of something that's even more insane. And at least for me, is that I think what I can't fathom is that, it's kind of like me just going out and killing my whole family and coming back and going, hey guys, do you like this nail polish color? I don't know, I'm thinking, I really kind of like it. It's a purple. I mean, and then people saying to me later, yeah, you killed your whole family. Yeah, mm-hmm. And me not being able to tell that story about how he killed his children and still breathe. Like, I know for me, growing up with my father, who was a World War II vet, when he watched some of the Vietnam stuff, he was breathless. He was speechless over it because he really hated seeing war. And he just couldn't stand those memories of what he had done coming back to him. And by saying what he had done, I mean, let's face it, and I said this to him before he died, I said, look, you killed people. You're never going to be the same, even if it's righteous or what have you. And he said, I'm really glad you said that because, I do believe, and this is my own thing, karmically, that can be, kind of a karmic okay in a way. I hate to say that, but, to defeat evil in that sense, because there is righteousness on the side of good, right? However, and I think people use that today as a very dangerous, slippery slope. But that's a different conversation. What I'm saying is that my father was horrified to think that other people were going to be experiencing what he did, meaning going out and killing people and having to fight a war. And there's a lot of opinions about Vietnam, but regardless, those people went and served. The point I'm making is that when I was listening to Christopher Watts critique the investigators, I want you to get this. Now I want you to go back and I want you to watch him in his interrogations. And I'm going to invite you to do this. Go back and look at not just his interrogation, more importantly, his conversations with the press, like, I don't know, and the words he was using. Suddenly, I was able to dive deeper under what he was saying. Like all of a sudden, it's like the words he was using were definite clues to the fact that he had split. And I wonder if part of what I'm trying to say about Chris Watts is that, is he a new type of diagnosis? Is he a new type of killer? Is he something we're seeing in our society now that may be something we haven't seen before? And I think that's why I'm very slow to say he's a, psychopathic narcissist, borderline, because I feel that when I was watching him, there is something about watching someone who is acting normal. He's like a normal guy, and yet he's lying right to your face, like literally saying, I have no idea. I have no inclination. Inclination. That means you're inclined, right? So him even using that word, and of course, I don't think he has the highest brain function, but I also feel that, and I know I'm going to run some risks here by saying, I just want to say that none of this makes his family evil. I really want to say something that may sound odd at this point, but I think that we can have the same children come out of the same family and they process stuff differently. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't treated differently than his sister. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that there really is something to the idea that as there's this time like separated from it, are you seeing that thing that I'm seeing, which is that there is definitely something very wrong here. And by that I mean, when I look at how the CBI went back and talked to him, there's something that they're seeing in this guy that they haven't seen before. The CBI doesn't just go back to have a chat with somebody or interview them about their tactics. They're trying to find out and elicit from this guy what's going on, because I don't think they're done sticking pins in this guy to see what's making him tick. Because trust me when I tell you, and you guys know this, I don't think we've seen anything like this before. Even when we look at a Bundy, even when we look at Manson, they looked crazy. Do you know what I mean? There's something in the eyes. You could see it's not right. There's something so vacant in Chris Watts. There is something so absent that I really have to say that it goes back to, why do we keep watching this? It's because we're trying to understand something that we haven't discovered yet. I don't even think it's on a spectrum. I think what we're seeing with him is just literally suffocate your children, throw them in the tanks, get home. And I know we can say, okay, his brain wanted to, maybe not his brain, but he wanted to go have a life with Nicole. He wanted to get all these things. Or Nikki, sorry. And, and Kay, I'm kind of out of the loop a little, but I think we have to look at, I'm not going to make my career out of this, but I am going to say that energetically, when I look at what I'm picking up from people, I think that as I step back from the shock of it, I'm starting to go, wait a minute, I'm seeing something here. I'm seeing something deeper. There is a reason that every time someone just labels this guy, we all go, oh, okay. And then we go, but wait a minute. And I think we're in that, but wait a minute right now. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I really feel that this could be something that we're seeing that we haven't really seen. I mean, let's face it. We've all seen people lie, right? But there's something so incredibly just not clicking for me of oh, he's a psychopathic narcissist. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, now that Shanann and the girls are gone, he when the CBI interviewed him, they didn't get what they went for. And I think I'm saying that we're not getting what we're looking for. And that's because we're really not knowing how to look. It's kind of like my dad used to say that when he was a kid, tomatoes were like poison, right? They were like, ugh. And then some guy ate a tomato and didn't die, basically. And then we discovered tomatoes are okay to eat, right? And now, of course, somebody else is debunking that. But the point I'm making is that I don't think we know yet what is going on. And I don't care how many videos we have watching this, there is not going to be a resolve until we understand at some level what this new mania is, what this new crazy is, because this is not something we've seen. I really have to say, I mean, we've seen similar crimes, we've seen things that are kind of like that, but we haven't seen anything like this. We're literally, yeah, you guys did a good job capturing me. And I think that you did ask me the right questions. I mean, this really made me crack. And, you know, when you came in with all your equipment, and I'm thinking to myself, what about the crime? Like, he literally formed this strange bond with the CBI. He formed this strange bond with them. And I'm going to tell you something else I saw. And I really challenge you to go back and watch this part. When his father, who is not a good actor, by the way, when he confesses to his father that he killed Shanann, I think he already told his father. I think in that hour and a half from the airport when he picked his dad up, remember he said, I want to pick my dad up, from that 9 a.m. pickup until they got to the police station where he then later confessed, I think he'd already confessed to his dad. And I think he and his father were kind of trying to concoct a way to make it seem like it was Shanann who did it. And I say that because watch Ronnie, and by the way, hindsight's 20/20, right? So we step back further. And as I was watching that, I was like, he's awfully calm. Like, he's like, oh, geez, son, you know, he's acting as if he didn't know. But I get the feeling that when he was first told, he would have been really shocked. This doesn't seem right to me, to go, oh gosh, really? You let the dog out and it ran away? Like, that's what I mean. That's the degree to which Ronnie was reacting when Chris was admitting to him that Shanann did it. Well, we know she didn't, but still, Chris was just shoveling the schneid. And, you know, what I'm thinking is, I wonder, not that he was in on it. I don't feel that's it. I think Ronnie was told in the car, and that's why I think Chris only wanted to talk to his dad. I think he told his dad what happened, and his dad said, well, look, we can put it together this way. Why don't you just say that you in a rage because Shanann was hurting the babies, right? So, because I don't really think, if I'm being upfront with all of you, I don't really think Chris is smart enough to come up with that story. Look how his other story was. I don't know, they just went out. Really? You know, like, he had no game in that sense. He had no brain around common sense coming up with it. I'm sorry, but any fifth grader would come up with a better lie than Chris did when he was in front of the cameras. Yeah, I don't know. I have no inclination. Well, if you really look at it now, no inclination is telling us he has every inclination of what happened. And even when he was standing there and saying, I keep wanting them to come through the door. Of course you do, because you murdered them and you want it to change. So I think that he had no real sensibility. And then when Ronnie comes in and says, I want to talk to my dad, and they know it's being taped. Ronnie probably said that, listen, it's going to be taped, so we got to make this look good. You know, let me help you, let me guide you. I really believe that Ronnie was trying to protect his son at that point. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to vilify Ronnie anymore, because I think that in a sense, he knew his grandkids were gone. He knew they were dead, right? But he was trying to then save what was left. So in a sense, I mean, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I want to just kind of pull away from the blame part of it into looking at some of the pieces, the more we get distance from it. And I really do think that the more I look at it, there's something deeper, because Chris was just too detached. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if that's a split personality, but there's something we haven't seen here. This is not just a narcissist. This isn't just bipolar. I mean, like I said, and I'm going to wrap up with this, even when we talk about Ted Bundy, right? We look at the crazy eyes. He was crazy. I mean, even though he was a good-looking guy, we've gotten smarter over the years, and we can see crazy. And I've got to tell you, I don't think Chris Watts showed any of that crazy. I think he showed complete normal, you know, to the rest of the world. And I think that's what really disturbs us, is that, well, he's just a psychopath in hiding. Okay, that's fine. I get it. But even the experts are trying to dig deeper. Even the people that convicted him are like, what happened here? Everyone who was affected by this is stunned. And it's because this isn't just one crime. This is a crime that just doesn't fit into any mold we've built. And I need to say that because, even him saying, well, I wasn't thinking when I separated the kids. I wasn't thinking about, what were you thinking about? That's the thing, is that I do think that there is stuff he was thinking about. And I also feel that we can look at it like, I think it's very easy for one side to say, well, the devil possessed him. Well, in that sense, then the devil's possessing every one of us because we all do crazy stuff. But that level of malevolent, that level of unbelievable separation from you and the act you're doing. In other words, Chris just basically told them like he was reading off a recipe. It was like, yeah, well, then I went back and she had said this to me, and I went back and I, smothered her. And I wonder, the level of his insanity. I wonder how deep it is. And I think that there is something to be said for all those murders in his family. And I'm going to pull out those records. I have them somewhere. But I do think we need to look at the fact that this is not a typical murderer. And when I say typical, not that they ever are, but there is something energetically unexplainable. And that's why there's so much stuff that keeps coming out about Chris Watts. And that's why more and more and more people are watching this, because this guy, I'm sorry, but he would unsettle anyone in the sense that, oh yeah, you asked all the right questions when you were, and you really tricked me with that one. And I really, really would love to know the conversation between he and his father in the car. And I wish to God that they had put a recorder in his car. And I know I keep thinking, oh, they knew more than they thought, but I really think that his level of insanity is, I think he had a great deal of culpability, that more than we even know about. And I really have to tell you, I think that I do think he was the making of a new kind of serial killer. And it was just, I'm sorry, but you have to admit, when we look at a lot of these serial killers, they're off the freaking wall and we see how crazy they look, or they look like, did he look like that? Did he? So I really want to look again at what I feel is the conversation between he and his father in the car, because I think Ronnie knew. Look at those conversations. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Also, I really want to get your thoughts on taking away all the labels. Like, don't label it narcissist, or don't label it, whatever, spectrum of this or that. Have you seen this before? If we take away all those labels. So that's what I want to say. And I'm wondering what you have to say about that. And I really have to tell you that a lot of this is my own intuitive sense that it disturbed me greatly that he never broke. What I mean by that, okay, and I know I'm kind of like false ending here, but what I mean by that is, like, I was just watching, I love Joe Kenda, right? So I'm watching one of his cases, and like, he's talking to this guy and he sees a little evil, and then it was just all normal. And then he goes back in and the guy's like, can I tell you something? And it's like, and Kenda even says in there, he was evil. And you could see it. And I'm thinking, we never saw that with Chris Watts though. See, I think that's what, in my opinion, that's what I think is missing. I want to see the face of the man that murdered Shanann and smothered each of his babies. I want to see that evil come out, because for whatever reason, it hasn't come out yet. And I think that when we can hear the story all day from Sunday, right? We can hear the story, but what is, I know that's my text. It's like, creepy sound. But anyway, I think I really want to hear that. And I wonder if what you think about that. And I'm going to move on to some more intuitive stuff as we go. I really have some ideas about things that I'd like to discuss. And I'm really glad you're here. Good to be back. And I will see you guys soon. I want to hear what you have to say below. And please remember, if you like the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you share with people, because that's the only way that we really grow. You know, and I have to say, it's like really hard if you're not on it every minute. And that makes it challenging, with meaning to make a living or make money doing this. And I know people are like, you shouldn't make money. Well, guess what? You make money when you go to work. This is going to work, right? I get to talk to you. So I think that really, if you can sit through the commercials from your favorite creators, try to understand that's how they're making their money, and that it gives them impetus to create more, right? So like, subscribe, share. I can like, subscribe, share. You know the mantra. Okay. Remember, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. And please be kind to each other. I'll see you next time.